Hello and welcome to the Wise Guys podcast. I am your host, Brady Fitzgerald, joined as always by my co-host, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
Doing all right, Chris. My voice is all scraggly. I was yelling terrible things at these refs at the Georgia basketball or Georgia South Carolina basketball game. We'll get to that in College Corner.
Oh, it's gotten worse in like the last 20 seconds.
I know.
At first, when I logged on, I thought you were having like internet issues. The voice was so choppy.
Just sounds
I was
scraggly.
like, "Oh, we're really gonna deal with this?"
No, we're not there yet in the pod.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I mean
That's what happens to the best fans out there.
Yeah, the good fans. They come back.
Only yell for so long.
We'll get there. It was a 9 p.m. game. It was a lot of fun, but it was pretty heartbreaking. Anywho, we got plenty of NFL to take care of first, and we're starting off. We're gonna do it in chronological order. We're just gonna jump right into it. And I think this was like probably one of the saddest days in podcast history for us this Saturday.
We just
Uh,
talked about it so much.
We just love the Joe Flacco narrative way too much, and I like. If he didn't throw two back-to-back interceptions, maybe they were in this game. Pick sixes. Sorry, not interceptions. Pick sixes. CJ Stroud lit up their defense too.
And it's like it was like the perfect Joe Flacco way to go out too. Like I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down with a bang. And
Oh yeah.
like the first pick, I was like, "Yo, what are you doing?"
And then 2 seconds
He
later,
gets
another
hit.
one.
Like no one's open. Ball just flies up in the air. As soon as the ball left his hand, I was like, "No way that this ball is not picked."
I said as he's getting hit, I was like, we haven't had that Joe Flacco pick yet. There it was.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. But honestly, like the bigger narrative out of that game, I think, is how bad the number one defense in the NFL looked. It's a rookie quarterback.
You were on
Like,
this.
were you not shocked by that?
I was shocked by it because I thought this defense was going to be able to maul the offensive line of the Texans and be able to really get after CJ Stroud, which they didn't. And you called this on the episode to put some water on our Joe Flacco hype. You were saying, look who they've played. They've played no one good
Yes.
at least. And
When they did play Houston, it was against Keenum and Mills.
yeah. So I still had faith. I won't backtrack and say I didn't have faith. I wanted this so badly, but it was a crushing dream. At least it was over, as you said, with a bang, as Joe Flacco should go. He should go off in the sunset.
He's done, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
retired.
No, he's not. Yeah, I don't know if he's. Is this the end of Joe? Is this the last we see of him in the NFL?
I think so.
With all the QB
I don't think he's coming back.
with all the QB parity that happens in this league, you think he doesn't have one more shot in him?
I guess he like it can be forced, but I think he captured lightning in a bottle for a few weeks. Like,
Oh, it was
I
his
don't think
Lindsay.
the team is going to sign him expecting to win 5 in a row like the Browns did.
No, I don't think that at all. But and I even when he was like, unless he won the Super Bowl and literally was flawless, I don't think his starting job would have ever like. I don't think there was any scenario where he's a starter next year. But
No, yeah, of course. But I think even for him, he's probably like, all right, like
give it a break.
Like,
Yeah, this is it.
He's a realistic guy,
Honestly, and this was it. This was his shot. He wasn't gonna win another. He's never gonna win
Yes.
another.
And it was like I still believe that they had a legit shot.
I agree. I do feel bad that we've spent nothing. We haven't even mentioned CJ Stroud. He played fantastic.
Yep.
He is back in the conversation for greatest rookie of all time and shit like that. That's just how this NFL narrative stuff goes. But a very impressive win. He's now the youngest quarterback to win a playoff game. Just really impressive rebuild by the Texans. When you look at it as a whole, the fact that they're going into Baltimore as a 4 seed, I mean, they won their division. They had a home playoff game, took care of business there, and are completely ahead of schedule. What worries me is let's not go be picking CJ Stroud for MVP and saying he's a dark horse and all that crap, because we did the same thing to Trevor Lawrence last year. the same thing, is it not?
Trevor Lawrence was not as good as CJ Stroud, though.
No, I agree. I agree. But let's let the kid breathe.
Yeah.
Let's just let him breathe before we make
It
him.
is good that he has Jordan Love on the other
Yes.
side of the bracket. And even though he's not a rookie, he's basically a rookie and doing basically the same thing. So it's almost like the attention's divided
Yeah, it is.
between
It is. That's a great way to put it. And it maybe that helps. Like I just don't. I hate when these guys. And it seems like CJ doesn't seem like he doesn't care about any of the noise. It doesn't seem like he. I mean, he said before the game. You see his quotes like during the week. He's like, "Oh, we suck. We got no chance."
CJ Stroud said that?
Yeah, he was like,
He
"Nah."
said that referring to what the media was saying.
Yeah, basically, he was just like, "Look at." He was like, "Oh, I mean, we have no shot at this anyways, right?" So, um,
Okay.
yeah, let's not like. I think there's something about these guys. They can't. I don't want to put them on a pedestal already. I feel like it just makes them like the Baker Mayfield effect. He's got to be doubted.
Yeah, but again, like I know him and Mayfield are such different quarterbacks. Like
Oh,
Stroud is
yes, I
he
agree.
just watching him play, it's like, man, it just looks so easy. Whereas Baker, and one of my friends texted me this, he said, which was an interesting observation, but he's like, I like watching Baker play because it looks like he's trying so hard to throw the football. Like you watch Josh Allen or like CJ Stroud throw a ball, and it's
Oh
like
yeah,
so
it's effortless. It's
effortless.
effortless.
And Baker, it's just not like that at all.
The
Like Baker, it feels like every big game that he has is like that's everything he's got. Whereas like CJ Stroud, you feel like you're never gonna reach the peak.
with Stroud, it's like all year, even in his games that he was struggling or a couple bad. He didn't have very many, but a couple bad games. All of his passes looked like he was in control of what he was doing, and some of these quarterbacks, that does not look like that. So that alone, I can see why people are going to be doing the dark horse MVP and everything, but let's just let him breathe. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers, like he's in the conversation.
We did this halfway through the year, didn't we? We put him
I
at
know,
like,
I know,
yeah.
I know. But then they flashed the numbers like if it was before the game or at halftime or whatever. But he like led the league in fewest interceptions and some other stat. I was like, what the hell? How did I not realize this? Like he threw 5 picks all year. Remember we were looking at that on the pod on Friday. I was talking about my Flacco interception bet, and then just parlay it with the other quarterback. And I'm looking back at his stats, and he's threw 3 picks against the Cardinals and 2 the rest of the season. It's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, it's funny because like we weren't doing this pod when Andrew Luck was a rookie, so there's not like I can't say we can have a good comparison between watching the way we watch now and the way we watched when Andrew Luck was playing. So I'm not gonna pretend like we can debate that, but it will be interesting. I hope he keeps it up and there's no sophomore slump, and I hope the Texans keep riding. They're a fun team to root for, and
Yeah, they are an easy team.
should be fun to see them.
I just don't like rooting for Houston though. It's like the same people are Astros fans. That bothers me a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's true, but there's so many teams in
Like
Texas.
I guess they've never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was gonna, and there's so many teams in
Yeah.
Texas that like the
Oh.
fact that they're Texans fans, like you got to give them some credit for that. They're not a Cowboys
Yes,
fan.
yeah, you could be a Cowboys
Yeah.
fan. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
All right,
He did miss that one throw. I forget who. I think it was.
and that was
Combs
one,
that just
but
got
it was like
wide.
it was like one of the best throws though. It was just missed him
No,
by a hair.
It looked great.
Yeah, it was like a flick of the wrist, and it just like was just.
It's
sailed
funny because
past
like
him.
that's what he did at Ohio State. Like that's you put on the tape and it's like, oh, he's just hitting wide open deep guys.
That's why everyone was worried about him. He's like, oh, I never made it a
Yeah,
second read.
exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's. So in this game, I had a wise pick of the Browns. Of course, I did. Didn't work out.
We both picked him to win though, so that's already 0-1. Didn't get better for either of us really.
Yeah.
Mainly me.
Let's move on to the next game. This one, I tried to explain. The Dolphins just They're
I yeah. I outsmarted myself here.
they are one thing goes
Like I do
wrong and they're
sometimes.
screwed.
I know.
They can't get anything going after
It
one thing goes wrong.
well, I tried to convince myself that this narrative of the cold was overblown. Um, they couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. And the first time that they did, it was an interception. And the rest of the game, outside of the one Tyreek play, which was an awful throw by Tua, and Tyreek just bailed him out, somehow scored a touchdown on that. After that, I was like, okay, like, if he can make plays like that, then you got a puncher's chance. And never even got another chance to do it. They threw, I feel like 40% of their passes at least were behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh,
And like the Chiefs knew that that was coming and they just pressed up all game and made every single play. Not that it was that difficult because there was no threat that the ball was going to travel past the sticks on any given play. And
I-
it made me want to gouge my eyes out. It was so hard to watch. Like this team who scored 70 points against the Broncos, how could they look this bad?
what do you do with Tua? You have every weapon around him.
I mean, yeah, I know.
You have him for a
And
5th-year option. Then
you
you
have
could
to get the one
franchise
seed.
tag him.
I think that's what has to happen. You have to be at home. And even at home against a good defense, I don't trust him. Like, thinking about the AFC, you're going to have to go to Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Baltimore in the
In January,
playoffs.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, are we just going to do this thing where every time they have a game that's cold, you just write them off?
And
They
like
can't throw
the end of the
ball
year,
down the
the end
field.
of the year,
And
every
Mahomes didn't
year
look
it's
great
cold.
either. Yeah, but he's still Mahomes and he's been there before and you know, I don't know what you do with him. I'd say you let it ride again, and if it turns into a situation where he's like a complete liability again, then you have to move on. I think he's earned at least another year though.
I agree. I think what the issue is the Daniel Jones scenario where instead of the 5th-year option, they extend him and don't want to do like the franchise tag and the 5th-year option. And you got to have confidence in your quarterback. I wouldn't have confidence in Tua Tagovailoa. I would let him know like you're on. Like, this is your chance, buddy. You got to prove us that you're
Yep.
the starting quarterback, and you got to prove us that you can win a playoff game when it's cold and when there's elements, and that every time something goes wrong, it can't just be the tires fall off.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think
it
teams
was
are
it
getting
was
way
one of the worst
too.
offensive games that I've seen from the team who was the best offensive team in football this year.
And
It's hard to believe.
it really was hard to believe. They couldn't even really run the football because they were down by half.
Okay,
And
that's the other
then
thing. But they were never down by a lot,
no,
and
they
they
weren't down
completely
by
abandoned the
enough.
running. The one time, I think it was the Tyreek drive when they had like a sustainable drive put together was when they were feeding it to Mostert, and then you bust out Tyreek, and it's like I think A-Chain probably had like 2 carries,
6,
Mostert had like 8.
8.
6, okay,
But still,
but they were never it. It didn't become like a blowout until the fourth quarter.
yeah, there
And
was no reason to
it
give
felt
up
like
on
there
the
was
run.
one drive where they really committed to running the football.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just like a McDaniel thing. Like it's not his offensive philosophy. I don't know that much about offensive philosophy, but it just felt like you have to adjust a little bit, right? Like with your Patriots helmet, was that like a
No, I just wanted to. No. I just wanted to make it like a little more sportsy. I saw it was back there, and I was like, oh, I'll move it up a little bit.
um but like you have to know going into a game like that that you're probably not gonna be able to throw the ball that far down the field. And you can actually attack this defense using the run. Teams have done it before. Like bubble screens once every set of 3 downs. Like it's not going to work, and it didn't.
They
So
reminded me a lot of
while
the.
Tua was awful. Like I feel like they could have called it better.
They remind me a lot of the Eagles in this game,
Yeah.
and we'll get to the Eagles later. But similar stuff where there wasn't very much adjustments. The game plan was pretty stale the whole way, and it was pretty obvious what they were doing every pass or every play.
Mhm. Yeah.
So the Chiefs now have to go to Buffalo, which we'll get to. They're going to be, I mean, as you said, Mahomes he missed a lot of passes in this game.
Mhm.
But he played like Mahomes. Rashid Rice, I mean,
Yeah.
is he the guy that
They
just
didn't
stepped
sack him
up?
once.
They're
Yes.
they're getting their boy Sky Moore back, which we hate because he wears number 24, but I'm sure he's better
Yeah.
than Justin Watson and Marcus Valdez-Scantling. So they'll get some help there.
I love how they did just try one deep bomb to VS.
Got to.
They're like, oh, we haven't thrown it to him all
Gotta
game.
try.
I'll
Yeah.
chuck it once.
Gotta give him the
I
Hail
was thinking
Mary
in the
ones.
fourth quarter. Yeah.
And
But yeah, Rasheed Rice, like he looked like the best player on the field.
it's maybe he's the sleeping giant for this team. And he got a little bit going halfway through the season, and there was a little bit of buzz, but he kind of fell off again.
Mhm.
So if they can get him hot now, it's the perfect time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's all. Like that's all it takes to win the playoffs. Any sport, just have to
Um,
have guys that step up, get hot at the right time.
this game, you had a wise pick, Miami +5. Woof.
Yep, it was same mistake I made with the Chargers last year. Ready to trust them.
I had
Gotta
under
get ahead of the
44.
curve.
Wasn't wise
Tail.
pick, but under 44 hit if you did
Hit,
tail
yeah.
that.
The over in the Cleveland game hit. We talked about that.
Yep. Yeah, 44.5. The freaking Texans did it alone.
Texans covered it. Yeah.
Uh,
Packers almost did the same thing in that game too.
and what did we have straight? I know you had Miami. No, did you have the Chiefs?
I had Miami. You had
Okay, and
Kansas
then I had
City.
the Chiefs. Cool. All right, so I have you one on there. Cool. Packers Cowboys. Next game. As you mentioned, the Packers almost covered this themselves on the over. There's 80 combined points in this game. And the score makes it look like it was a lot closer than it was. This was a blowout, 27 to, was it 24-0, 27-0?
27-0, and then it was like 41-14. What was the final? It was
48-32.
46-32. 48-32. So yeah, I think it was 41-14. Not great. Not great at all.
No, and like
And
you
it was
look,
like immediate.
yeah,
Like
it
they
was.
just came out, went down, score, 3 and out, score, pick, boom, like game over. It was
Yeah,
so quick.
and Dak, I mean, when you look back, when we look in next year, we're gonna be like, oh, Dak had a good game. He did not have a good game. He ended up with a lot of
No, I
yards.
don't think anyone's actually gonna think that.
Tony Pollard didn't. I mean, he got a touchdown, but wasn't helpful on the ground. They couldn't really run. I mean, they didn't.
Well,
it's
they
not
were
like
down
they-
21
Yeah, I was
points in
just
3
gonna say.
seconds.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
So-
They're gonna run the ball a lot. CD's amazing. I mean, they have all the weapons. Their defense got torched by Jordan Love. Jordan Love looked amazing. He missed 5 passes all
Mhm.
game. Only threw it 21 times. Got 3
Even
three
Stroud
touchdowns.
had identical numbers.
Really?
So like 2 yards was the difference between him and Stroud.
Wow.
If you look at completions, touchdowns, and yards, yeah, it's really freaky actually. But
And
yeah, he was perfect.
and Aaron Jones. We were talking about him before the game and right before the playoffs that he had to step up. He played amazing. He had 3 touchdowns himself.
Mhm.
Romeo Dobbs was out there balling. He had his career high and everything. They didn't even
And
have
had a
to
100
use.
game or 100-yard game all his career.
Yeah,
Went off for like 150.
yeah. And they didn't even need Christian Watson. Jalen Reed didn't even get a catch. Yeah, this was over very quickly. And I guess really the storyline after this is what do the Cowboys do?
You gotta think about him. To come out like this, and also say that anyone who has Dan Quinn on their list of guys to interview for their head coaching gig, which includes my team, should cancel that interview yesterday.
Yeah, they need to cancel that
Like
interview.
this is like an implosion that's a fireball offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the Colts got smoked by the Jags last week of the year, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They missed the playoffs. Terrible Jags team. Like teams like that, that's a fireball offense. This was so bad. Come out and to just get gashed by a Packers team who's been like they've been up and down and they've had some really good weeks. They've never looked like this or anything close to this. Like I felt like every time Aaron Jones got the ball, it was at least 8 or 9 yards. So easily.
Yeah, they were a
every time
machine.
Jordan Love dropped back, they weren't getting to him. And then somebody would be wide open on every single play. It was like the easiest game to watch as someone who's rooting against the Cowboys. Because you just had so much confidence that every time they snapped the football, they might just score a touchdown.
It was incredible performance by them.
They didn't get to him once.
Absolutely incredible performance by their offense. You're right, Dan Quinn. That should be an immediate. That should be the interview. Sorry, man. We just saw you in the playoffs.
That's right. That was the interview.
We talked about Jair Alexander. He needed to come back. He did his job. He got a pick. Yardage wise, when it's all garbage time, like he's gonna get torched. But he got his pick. Your boy from Maryland, Darnell Savage, got the other one.
Savage.
Wasn't that 6?
Yep. That was 6.
Yeah, look at that. Representing Maryland.
Yep. You guys, like delivering the pigs.
All right. Is there anything else? I mean, all right, coach-wise, what do? You fire McCarthy.
So the only thing about firing McCarthy is you have to ensure that the alternative is better. So like Belichick or Vrabel or Harbaugh is on the table, then I think you do it in a heartbeat, right? If not, then it's a conversation.
I thought Belichick made a lot of sense, and then I thought about it for a little bit, and it doesn't make because I don't think Belichick wants to deal with Jerry Jones. I don't think he wants to deal with, and I don't think Jerry Jones wants to deal with Belichick because Jerry Jones has always had a puppet as head coach. Yeah, exactly. He's always had a guy that will not say anything back to Jerry Jones, and however Jerry wants to do it, Jerry's going to do it. Well, this is Bill Belichick. Like if Bill Belichick goes into a team, it's Bill Belichick's way.
Yes.
And I don't think the Cowboys are going to be dealing with that. At least Jerry won't be. They should though. Imagine Bill Belichick.
Harbaugh's not doing that either.
Yeah,
Vrabel's probably not doing that.
I was going to say Vrabel might not either. Because Vrabel didn't like the GM in Tennessee, so how's he going to get along with Jerry Jones? He's going to say one word to him, and he's going to fire him.
The GM who's not even like a football expert.
Yeah, he's just a businessman. Just imagine, though, if the egos could be put aside and Bill Belichick coached this team.
Mm-hmm.
That defense would never look like that, ever. It would never let up 45 points to Jordan Love. Or 48.
Yeah.
They need to change something. I think they will change something. Maybe it's not McCarthy though. Maybe you're right. I just think.
You think they consider moving on from Dak? Because he had the best year of his career this year.
Honestly,
I was actually worried about the Cowboys in the playoffs this year.
Honestly, in
how good Dak had been.
In the fourth quarter, I was like, why not give Trey Lance a shot? Why not see what he can do? And I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you move on from Dak. I think they have too much money invested into him. Mm-hmm. He's too much of a brand, and there's too many negative alternatives. Like, what do you get? What do you even get for Dak? You get a second round pick.
Again, it's the issue.
Yeah,
and
I think.
Who do you play?
So maybe they look the same. Maybe they just. I mean, they look. We've been they said this about Jason Garrett for like 10 years. They should fire him at the end of the season. for like 10 years. So I
He was
think
there
that,
a long time.
yeah, I think they keep him. Which is,
Yeah,
I think
I
it's a
mean, I wouldn't be
mistake, though.
surprised.
I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
All right, the game of the
Ooh.
weekend, the closest game of the weekend, most exciting game of the weekend.
The only good game, really.
Yeah, the only good game at all. Rams, Lions, Matthew Stafford's return. Lions, they got the Lions got the victory. First victory in 2 decades, 3 decades. The Detroit Lions in the playoffs.
Great.
They got to
Yeah,
be
that's great.
home. I think great for the Lions fans. This is a great moment for Detroit. I mean, they've had a lot of shit years in a lot of sports, so and they deserve this one. And I was petrified. I was scared for them. I thought this Rams team was. I wish this Rams team faced another team so we could see the Rams again, because
Mhm.
like they would have whooped the Bucks Eagles no matter who they faced,
Oh, yeah.
and they might have torched the Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean, if you get that same Cowboys team, then I think it's the same score as the Packers game was. Like, if they couldn't stop Romeo Dobbs, I think they're
Yeah.
stopping Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
That was the biggest disappointment for the Rams was Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp had a pretty terrible game for his standards, especially in the playoffs. They couldn't they got to him 5 times, but he really got like no yardage out of that, and he just was kind of a non-factor, which was not what anyone was expecting. I mean, Puka, this stat line makes
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, if the Lions' game plan was like, we're going to take him out of the game, and like they have these 2 receivers, we're going to let one of them beat us. We're not going to let both of them beat us.
Well, they let Puka beat
I don't
him.
know if it's that. Yeah, but Puka had an amazing game.
Yeah.
But I guess like if you figure Cooper Kupp's his most reliable target, if you take him out on every big third down and he's forced to go somewhere else, then eventually like it'll work out for you.
And I guess technically it did. Their defense stood up to be able to hold the Rams to 23 points. Very impressive in my eyes.
Well, this game looked like it was going to be 70-65.
Yeah, the second
The
half.
first few drives.
Yeah, the first couple drives.
I don't know what happened. I had the under and I couldn't believe that it hit.
I know. It hit literally right at the like. I mean, it hit at the
There were
skin of their
9
teeth.
points in the second half.
I wonder, how does that? It's just like 2 great coaching adjustments at halftime. Like, how does that happen? Where there's so many points in the first half, and
I
just
guess
none
so.
in the second.
Yeah. Maybe they just got tired.
That could be as well.
The first 6 drives, it's all in the first half. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, 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 touchdown.
And then nothing.
The second quarter was like the third quarter in the Green Bay game. It's just touchdown, touchdown.
Oh,
back
yeah.
And forth, back and forth. Except this game was actually close. The Green Bay game, it was already a 20-point deficit, and then they were just trading touchdowns.
I love how
But
like Josh Reynolds is out here getting 5 catches for 80 yards. Like Sam Laporta. I mean, I know he was injured, and Jameson Williams.
Takes everybody.
It does take everyone, and I mean, again, this was a guy that was on Goff's Rams team. I thought there was a lot of praise for Goff or for Stafford and coming home and all that stuff. Shout out to Jared Goff having to beat his demons. Literally the guy who they invested in you, number 1 pick, and then flip you for this guy, win the Super Bowl immediately. Must have felt good.
The locker room speech was awesome.
I did not see
Dan
that.
Campbell. He gave out the first game ball to Brad Holmes, the GM, and gave like this huge speech about how they're always on the same page and like everything we did right and it led us here. Which, by the way, they've won 1 playoff game, so like a bit much.
But it's basically the Lions Super Bowl. Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on.
But then the second game ball, he was just like, "You're good enough for Detroit, Jared Goff," and threw him the football. It was a pretty cool.
That's wholesome.
Pretty cool moment.
That's wholesome.
Yeah, it was wholesome. It made my heart happy. And that's why no one's going to talk about the PI that they missed on the Rams on that last drive.
No, no one's gonna talk about that. The that
It
that
wasn't
was
great.
no, and that was like I was just thinking about this is like all right. They let him get away with a couple Bengals or the Bengal. Remember the Bengals in the Super Bowl? There's a couple holding calls that they let him get away with. It's just like
Yeah.
all right. This is all right. You guys got the Super Bowl. We're giving Detroit this one. We'll even it out. Call it a score, but that was pretty bad. That was a pretty bad PI.
Yeah,
that they missed. It's always the Rams, isn't it? Where it's, I mean, not maybe always, but
they
these
just have to
playoff
be
games,
involved.
yeah, in these playoff
somehow.
games, they always have to be involved with some shitty call. All right.
But yeah, who cares? I honestly was very happy for Detroit. It made me happy to watch.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the only thing that concerns me going
A
forward is
little
that
worried
they
about
scored
the Bucks.
against them. Are you worried about the Bucks? I'm not worried
Yes.
about the Bucks. No.
I don't,
Okay.
and it's not even anything to do with how the Bucks looked last week. They played against a college football team, but I don't know. It's still too good to be true for the Lions. Like they're gonna play in an NFC Championship. I don't know, but it's also like Baker Mayfield's gonna play in that. So it really is like the underdog story of the century, maybe.
Honestly, I mean, and
You get waxed in San Francisco.
yeah, honestly, whoever the winner is, of any of these are, I hope the Packers give him a fight so we can see someone hopefully beat them.
I honestly think they will. I don't
Packers
think
give him a fight?
It's gonna look unbeatable.
Okay.
Yeah. Although Shanahan has owned the Packers, hasn't he? Maybe it's just that one play. No, it was two. They beat him in the NFC Championship, and then they beat him in Green Bay. The year they did the Rams in the NFC Championship.
Yeah,
Shanahan's beat LaFleur at least twice in the playoffs. I don't know about the regular season.
Yeah, just twice in the playoffs, I think.
But I can't beat Bay because of that.
You know what I hate? Beginning of the season, I was like, 3 teams that were in the playoffs all these years, and we've all been talking about them for all these years, are going to be terrible this year. The Packers, the Bucks, and the Rams. Here they are. Here they are, all
Real
with
world.
yeah, I know. Rams with half their roster
I mean, the
completely
Bucks,
different. The
like, the
Bucks
Bucks
got a
don't
different
count.
quarterback.
That was a Brady, like, this isn't the same Bucks team.
No, I agree, and it's not the same Packers
It's not
team
like
either.
they were a perennial playoff team either. Right, but the Packers, like, Packers have been in the playoffs for the last 25 years. Bucks have been in it for, like, 4 or 5.
Yeah, I
Even
meant
the Rams, too.
I guess I kind of meant just like based off the past handful of years, and specifically that I called out all these teams with I bet all of them on the worst record, all 3 of them. So that's fun. That's fun.
Coaching, it's good coaching.
It is good coaching. That's what it is.
I deserve a lot of credit. Todd Bowles hasn't gotten any credit this year.
No, not a lick of credit.
We should throw him a bone at least.
Sure, they
Maybe
win
the
9.
division sucked.
Yeah, they win 9-8. Great
They won a playoff game.
against a college football team.
I don't think everyone's picking against them against the Lions on Sunday.
You see, a reporter asked Todd Bowles how they're going to deal with the weather in Detroit. They play in a dome.
Like,
How do these clowns get
yeah,
jobs? We're
I
sitting
mean, the
over here.
walk from the bus into the stadium is gonna be pretty chilly, I guess.
Yeah, I hope Jared Goff doesn't lose all of his feel in his hands. All right, this one we can go by quick. This was a no game. I was sad that there was no snow in this.
The snow was fun. Well, the throwing the snow.
Yes, the throwing the
It
snow
looked
was
like
fun.
the geysers. Like,
I thought we were gonna see some Shady McCoy type snow, so I bet everything based off that, and that's not what we got. They covered though. I got the cover. I didn't hit the under.
this was a game for like a minute. Like the Steelers were lingering.
Well, here's the thing: the Steelers kept freaking screwing themselves. The pick in the end zone was like a
Mm.
10-point swing or 7-point swing at least. They couldn't get
Fumble that then
that made
immediately
no
turned
sense
into
to
a
me.
touchdown.
Well, not that
Yeah.
fumble, the other fumble, the fumble that like the Steelers like offensive player hit his helmet as it bounced while he was when he was out of bounds. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it bounced out of bounds. And I think how it happened is the offensive player was out of bounds and it touched his helmet, so technically the ball is out of bounds.
Mhm.
But like I couldn't really tell where it touched his helmet, so I don't know. I thought that was weird. But they even tried to give him that, and they couldn't get anything going. And you're right, the fumble goes immediately to a touchdown. The Josh Allen fake slide for a touchdown. I think that was like people were blowing that out of proportion. I don't think he flakes.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like he was Kenny Pickett where he had one leg on the ground.
It's funny because it's against the same team.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Did you know that the Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2016?
Yeah, I've been seeing all this stuff.
I heard that this morning. Like, that's pretty shocking because I have always complained about the Steeler fans that complain about Tomlin.
It's
Like, you don't understand how good you have it.
Screw. They
What?
haven't had a good quarterback since 2016. The fact that Tomlin is 9-8 in all these games, it's not like
That's true.
I hate all these people that are like, oh, would you take 9-8 and no playoff win every year? It's like, yeah, because they're 10-point underdogs every year in the playoffs. Their team are terrible. Like the fact that like Tomlin is not an underrated coach. I'm so sick of people trying to say that he's an underrated coach or overrated coach because
You mean overrated? Yeah.
yeah, he carries these teams with like he had Mason Rudolph starting in a playoff game. He had 4 years of terrible Big Ben. Maybe
is
5.
It on him to get a new quarterback, or I don't know what their front office structure is.
Yeah, I don't know how that is.
Like, does he have personnel control?
I can't claim for that. All I know is the quarterbacks that he's been presented with, or maybe he's chosen himself, have been terrible. And I think Kenny Pickett's done.
Yeah, you said it last time that he's getting shadow benched.
He is getting shadow benched. He's not injured, bro. We saw Trevor Lawrence play 5 weeks on a broken ankle. He's definitely fine.
It looks like they do have a general manager. This guy, Omar Khan. So go get a quarterback, Omar.
Yeah, Omar needs to go figure that one out.
Seriously. Like, what if they signed Kirk Cousins or something?
That's what I'm saying. They could get Kirk Cousins.
Just something. That team could win with Kirk Cousins.
Oh, yeah. They already have Fire Mute. I mean, Pickens is a head case, but he also has never had a quarterback.
That would be the funniest relationship ever.
Pickens and Kirk Cousins. That would be like that should need its own Netflix show. Every conversation should be filmed. I mean, they always have weapons. They always have running backs. They always have I guess the past couple years they haven't had a good offensive line, but they've always had a decent enough offensive line. And their defense is always solid. But they're never competitive in any of these playoff games, and it's because they need a quarterback.
I know. I would have been interested to see them go up against the Ravens. We beat them twice this year. And I know the last time was because it was not Lamar, but it would have been interesting. Because I think Ravens fans would have been terrified.
It would have been fun. It definitely would have been fun. On the Bills side, they were able to keep a consistent running game with James Cook. Even Ty Johnson was pretty all right. Josh Allen only scrambled when he needed to.
About Maryland guys.
Yeah, Ty Johnson. I almost bet his over, and it hit. I should have done it.
I didn't even know he was in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah. He's out there a couple times randomly.
Completely frank.
Diggs.
I watched a hype video about the Bills 2 days ago. I gotta say, I'm all in. I think they might win the Super Bowl this year.
They keep losing players on.
It's one of those videos where like they have Nick Wright at the start.
Oh, if Nick Wright starts your video, yeah. If Nick Wright starts your hype video, you know it's good.
The playoff.
You know it's good if Nick Wright.
And then it's like the only way is if they win 5 games in a row, and then it's like every single win. I was like, just kind of fired me up. But then I think about the games. It's like they only won like one of them convincingly.
No, and they had like
But if they can run the football, like that's been the bugaboo this whole time.
yeah,
They can run the football.
I agree. If they run the football and they can
Control
keep it
possession.
going, and this is gonna be big for Buffalo. What concerns me is Diggs. I know I mean, like he didn't need a big game, but he didn't have a big game. Can they get him going in the playoffs?
Be all right. I'm telling you, at some point, he's gonna have a game.
He's due. He's due.
Mark my words. He's due.
He's far due.
Been saving his energy.
Saving his energy. I mean, as Josh Allen didn't make a stupid mistake, so as long as he doesn't do that in the playoffs, that should help too.
Yeah, you almost need Josh Allen to be like a little less Josh Allen in the playoffs.
1,000%.
Be like a little more chill.
Yeah, just relax the guy. Just relax.
Every play doesn't have to be crazy miracle throw.
Yeah, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be a touchdown every time.
That's just chunk plays.
Yeah. All right, final game. The biggest implosion since when? Just the whole season long. They started 10-1, ended 11-6.
So I saw that they were being compared to the Steelers team that started 11-0.
Yeah,
I think it was during the COVID year.
Yeah, I remember that.
They completely tanked.
And you know who stopped their season? Just like every other, it's always one team that stops this undefeated run, and it's somehow the Washington Commanders.
It's the Washington football team at that point.
Yeah, at that point it was a football team.
I was in the middle of their epic division run.
Yeah, when they won the division at 8,
crushed everybody.
8-8, right?
7-9.
7-9.
Yeah,
that was the Nate Sudfeld
yep.
travesty that the
Yes, that was when they benched. Was it Hurts?
It was Hurts.
Yeah, they benched him for Peterson wanted to get a look at him, and then they fired Peterson. Yeah, that was a weird year.
This is one of the worst.
Yeah, so they lost.
It's one of the worst games, bro.
4 of their last 5, and then the playoffs. They lost to the Browns.
Yeah, lost to Baker.
I found 28-0 in the first quarter. So actually, yeah, this is pretty similar.
This Eagles team is garbage. Garbage. They couldn't do anything right all game. Not a single thing. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't catch the ball. They didn't have a creative offensive play once. The tush push didn't even work.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, I think they're done. That was like the one thing the whole year.
Also,
anytime we need a yard, we got it. And then perfect, like get that penalty, move it up. Oh, it's a free 2 points.
I will say though, Jalen Hurts' neck got like ripped off on that failed tush push.
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna ban it.
I mean,
I'd guess.
I would hope. I would hope not. I think teams, but we'll discuss it if that ever happens. They like
Roethlisberger threw 4 picks in that playoff game, by the way, and lost the football. Not that it matters, but that was fun.
That is funny. Like when you look, Hurts didn't even play that bad, but he didn't. He never like he had one pass down the field, and it was Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
To get to that 1 yard line, or basically close to it, whatever the hell that was. And every other play was a screen pass. It was like 5 wide. Why are we doing 5 wide?
So
we have a great running back. Nah, let's just do a screen pass somewhere. It's like 3rd and 2. We're going to do a 5 wide screen pass. It's like QB draws right there.
3rd and 2 stuff drives me nuts.
The 3rd and 2 was insane.
Or just push twice on 3rd and 2.
It was nuts that they honestly had no game plan. And as much as
what did they do all week?
I really had no clue.
Like when they watch film, like what are they looking for?
I think they're looking for how
They're like watching the defense. They're like,
how
okay, the
good
screen
Jalen
will
Hurts
work
looks.
against this defense.
They're like, Jalen Hurts looks good in that play.
If we get Devontae Smith one-on-one with this corner,
We can
then we'll
throw a screen with to Quiz Watkins instead.
yeah, if it doesn't work, we'll flip a screen to Goddard. I don't know what their issue is.
Their issue is that and like, let's not get this twisted. This was the best roster in the NFL, the best. We were talking about them that they're gonna like.
No, the 49ers are.
Before the year, when we were talking about it, we were talking about this team like it was the 2016 Warriors.
You couldn't argue them outside the top 3.
No. And I mean, all their cornerbacks are old. That's why, and none of them wanted to tackle. James Bradbury got benched in the first quarter. They were so bad they had to bring him back in.
It's like they call that the Forbes.
The Forbes?
Or actually, Sam Howell would be the guy.
Yeah,
Forbes.
Yeah.
They bench him, and then they're like, all right, everybody's hurt, so you're
back in.
Corner number 1 against 49ers this week, buddy. Look. And
the Bucks were able to do everything. When they wanted to throw, they were able to throw. When they wanted to run, they were able to run. The thing that pissed me off is I had like 8 first touchdown bets, and one of them was the Kate Otton, would have gotten me $7 immediately off a 50-cent bet. That was he got tackled in the end zone, and nobody wanted to call that. And then the next play, Mike Evans drops. Yeah, I know. But next play, Mike Evans drops a wide open touchdown that would have gotten me like $4.
Yeah, that was tough.
But other than that, they were able to do whatever they wanted. They don't rely on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, which is exactly how they should be. And I mean, Baker has played on 4 teams in the past 2 years, and he's now won a playoff game.
Yeah, good for him.
You just gotta give your confidence behind this guy. Like, the Browns never had confidence in him. The Panthers surely had no confidence in him.
When they did, they made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole Odell thing.
Yeah, it was always Baker's fault. Baker's fault. And he's won more playoff games than the Browns have. And their one playoff game that they've won is because of Baker Mayfield.
He also has the same amount of playoff wins as Dak Prescott.
It's time to have a conversation.
So, I was gonna do the tough pill to swallow.
Anyone in the league could have gotten this guy. Anyone in the league.
Yeah.
Either of our dumb teams could have had this guy.
I don't think much changes.
That's fair. I will say the Bucks' offensive line is pretty fire. They really have built that up well because they built this team for Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's like benefiting from Brady.
Yeah, he built this team for Brady, and then
like, I'm not coming here unless these dudes are studs.
Yeah, and then they had a stud team, and they put in Baker. I just thought Baker would be so bad that they wouldn't be able to move the ball at all, but he's been fantastic.
I thought the whole team was getting old too, and then you forget that like Mike Evans, like, guy's not slowing down.
The old thing I always. Like, now, not always. I always take into account the old thing, but, like, all right, great. He's 32 instead of 31. Like, come on. As long as he's not your number 1 corner, I think it's all right.
Also, you can't, like, convince me that Cade Otton is just Cameron Brate named. Like, I always get so confused when they say Otton because, like, that's Cam Brate.
You're right. No, it's Robert Gronkowski. What do you mean? Switch the number 1. This guy, I remember him last year, like, just being around, but I mean, he had a fantastic playoff game, and it could just be like, I don't know what his stats look like all season, but this was a fantastic playoff game for him. He could have had a touchdown.
Picked him up once in fantasy. He sucked.
Sounds like every tight end in fantasy. Yeah, he sounds like
it. Yeah.
All right. we got a Friday pod to talk about all next round. So, want to go to basketball?
Yep.
Well, let's repack the wise picks that didn't hit and did hit. I had Buffalo -9, which hit. And I had over on the Eagles Tampa Bay, which did not hit by 1. Dude, that freaking Eagles field goal screwed me in so many different bets. Screwed me on a parlay because I needed this kicker to get 2 kicks. And then I had the stupid over. And if they just let that field goal go, the overs hit.
Yeah. The gambling.
I had a terrible weekend. Gambling wise.
I ended up breaking even. I just went so heavy on the Dolphins. But I hit one Tyreek bet. That kind of saved me. And then I hit the under on Sunday night.
The under on Sunday night was a lock.
Yeah. It was scary, though. I was like,
oh, yeah. No, it was a nerve. Yeah, it was a nerve-wracking lock.
Game's going to be like 45-38.
All right.
And then I hit the Packers as well.
So.
+7.
Yes. So we had what? We went 2 for 6.
3 for 6. I was 2-1.
All right, nice. 3 for 6 is terrible, but that's okay. We'll be better next week. We'll have combined picks. We'll be better.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll be picked.
Let me pick.
We'll get out of here. All those picks will be taken on Friday at 5 p.m. Happy hour.
Yep.
I'm gonna have something. I don't know what I'm gonna have, but I'm gonna make something for happy hour. Maybe that'll help our picks. So all that stuff, all divisional round stuff, will be done on Friday. We have some NBA to talk about. We haven't talked about the NBA in a long time, or at least not in detail. And the Raptors have made 2 moves since, and I guess we kind of talked about the Knicks one, right? But today,
yeah, I think we got that.
Today, they traded Pascal Siakam. Long-awaited trade. It seemed like they were going to trade him for past 2 years. They traded him for Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, Kyron Lewis, and 2 first-round picks from the Pacers, who then got Pascal Siakam and a second-round pick. Really, the highlight of this is, I guess Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown was playing pretty well. He was on the championship Nuggets team for everyone at home. And then the first 2, the 3 first-round picks are the big draw here.
Mm-hmm.
And I when you look at other stars, I don't know what Pascal Siakam is, but 3 picks isn't that bad. And you have Tyrese Halliburton. You had some pieces where you knew you weren't going to be in the top, hopefully 14. They think they're going to make the playoffs. They think that this is their timetable, and they wanted to accelerate it a little bit. Siakam averaging 22 points and like 7 rebounds a game, but is he a star? Is this what they really needed to propel themselves forward?
I think so, because I think Halliburton is on his way to becoming a real, not a star, but a superstar in this league. And because of that, I don't think you need a second superstar. Like the Nuggets don't have that. They have Jokic, and then they have Murray, who's an all-star, and Porter, who's an excellent player. They don't have another, there's no LeBron, D Wade, Durant. You don't need that in the NBA anymore necessarily. What the Nuggets showed last year is it's more about building a team that plays complementary basketball. And I think if it works, obviously if it works, then they achieve their goal. But if it works, it's because they added a guy who's going to complement Halliburton and is going to play alongside him well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And the only thing that concerns me with this team would be now the 3-point shooting. You have Miles Turner out there, which I guess they're going to have Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam out there at the same time with Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, and probably Mathurin. And Mathurin doesn't shoot threes. Buddy Hield shoots
Neesmith,
threes.
your boy.
I do like Neesmith. He shoots threes.
He does. That's all he does.
Yeah, it's true. So I guess
Neesmith is shooting 46% from three.
It's electric.
That's crazy.
But
That's insane.
like, having two bigs that don't shoot a lot of threes? Is that what we want for this team? This fast-paced team that like to get the ball out a lot. I don't know. I want to see how it is. I hope he runs with, I hope he goes into the flow, as you were saying, and build that complementary basketball. Because this Pacers team was a lot of fun. They have a good coach. The coach, Rick Carlisle, he was a Dallas coach for a long time, and clearly saw something in Pascal. So if they're the team to do it and bite the bullet and finally push the pieces to move on for Pascal, I think that they are gonna they're clearly gonna have a plan for him. So I'm gonna have some faith in a franchise that has been doing it the right way for a couple years now. So I think this is kind of like a mini Rudy Gobert trade, right? It's like you have Anthony Edwards, you had a cat.
Yeah, but we hated that trade.
Yeah, no, we did hate that trade because they still gave up way too much. They gave up 5 first-round picks and 3 good players.
That, but the fit of you traded for a center when your best player is a center.
Yeah, that is true. But it worked out for them.
You're saying you're worried about the 3-point shooting. I guess it worked out for now. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we look dumb for now.
Yeah, for now.
We'll see. For now. But you're worried about the 3-point shooting. I think the way that you look at this from a front office perspective is, let's take what we have as a surplus, which is shooting and scoring, and let's address a weakness, which is defense. And Siakam gives them a reliable defender.
That is true.
Down low, who has length and can stretch.
It's a great point.
And can basically can guard any position. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm talking about with complementary play. They don't need him to be a run and gun guy. They need him at the rim, be able to stretch out, guard small and big fours. So I think it's a smart move, and you're right. It's 3 first-round picks, and you're already pretty young, right? You're not.
They don't need. Yeah, they're not looking for a bunch of young pieces.
A rookie to develop.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't have 3 years to wait on a guy that you're going to draft in the top 10. You're not even going to be in the top 10. So I think it makes sense. I think especially giving them this half of the season and playoffs together, and then you go into next year. I'm assuming they're going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
They have to. Yeah,
you do this move to re-sign him.
Yeah. So I think having that under your belt going into next year is a big deal. So I think it's a win-win because Toronto wasn't really going anywhere. You got good value for him. Got a decent player back who's, Bruce Brown, solid.
Another trade piece too. He's got 3 years on his deal.
Yeah, that's right. It kind of helps the Pacers getting rid of that contract. That was a shitty contract.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad contract. I don't know what they were doing.
Did not deserve. That was the NBA finals.
Yeah, it was the finals tax. So, yeah. I mean, now they have the thing that I like about this trade for the Raptors and the previous trade for the Raptors is that now they're actually a little bit interesting. We saw this old Raptors team play out for 4 years. We knew they were terrible. So now they have.
It was literally just the shell of the finals team.
Yeah,
without Kawhi.
And they played for 4 years together. It didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. And
finally, Van Vliet moved on. Now Siakam's gone. Now it's a new group. Anobi gone. Or
yeah,
RJ, man.
They
thrown into this mess.
RJ Barrett. No, he's from Canada. Gives him a chance to be a star with Scotty.
That's true. He is Canadian. That's true. What are the odds that the Canadian NBA player ends up on the one Canadian?
They got to get Wiggins. Trade for Wiggins now. Let's get the whole Canadian team together. Celtics give him back.
I can't imagine RJ Barrett and Andrew Wiggins being a good combo.
No, especially with Scotty Barnes too. That's like 3 players that are exactly the same.
Scotty Barnes is going to be a superstar in this league. What was the quote?
Yeah, the coach. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Be like,
he is going to be the face of the league one day, and this is how
the face of the league. Who was it? Also, this is a tangent, but somebody said that you shouldn't have given that, or that it made it worse that you had an accent. I think it was Evan Turner. He's like, "You're really gonna let the coach with an accent give that rant?" I was like, "What?
What do you mean? They're supposed to tell him, you can't talk, man. You got an accent. Sorry,
You
pal."
can't be saying that."
Honestly, Evan Turner. I love Evan. There's like a couple NBA guys that are like completely washed, like Evan Turner, and I mean Perk's always Perk, but there's a couple other ones on Twitter that I can't name off the top of my head right now that are always like chime in on these. It's like, dude, you're a bum.
Yeah.
You're out of here. You've been out of the league for years now.
What are we doing here?
But I do think it was time to move on for the.
Now he's just become like actual podcast guy.
Who?
Matt Barnes does the podcast with Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Guy with all the tattoos.
Oh, I actually have no idea who you're talking about. Oh, him? I didn't even know he was a basketball player. He has a podcast?
Yeah, see, exactly. That's point made there.
All right. I mean, and on the Raptors side, I think you're just rooting to have some fun at this point. See what we have with RJ. See what you have with Scotty. Yeah. We need. I don't know what Grady Dick's stat line has been looking like, but he needs to get some minutes if he hasn't played. Oh, the first thing that comes up is G League stats, so looks like he hasn't played very much.
Yeah, he's averaging 3 points on 28% shooting, 12 minutes a game.
Terrible.
Not great.
That's bad.
Not great, but he had that Halloween costume.
Did have that sweet Halloween costume, and he did have the Ruby Rose dress or not dress, but jacket at the draft. Before we move on to College Corner, this is a perfect transition. Another storyline that is popping up around the NBA is the emergence of Gigi Jackson. We're back, baby.
I've seen that.
We're so back. Gigi Jackson the Grizzlies are completely injured. They are torn apart. They have like no one on their team anymore. And you know who this gives rise? It's like the bat signal. The Gigi signal is out. It's out and about. He has playing the past 2 nights or past 2 games. Sorry. He's played 25 plus minutes, 27 and 29, respectively, off 20 points and 23 points. What's more impressive is he shot 6 for 9 from field and 5 from 8 against the Warriors. It's pretty damn good numbers. 6 rebounds in each of those games.
It's always been in him.
No, yes, I agree. That's what I wanted to point out. This has always been in him. This is what I was preaching to the choir when it was draft GG season. This is actually a perfect scenario for him because he wasn't supposed to play. He's supposed to spend pretty much the whole year in the G League. Now he's getting some minutes where it doesn't matter. Like it's like just go play basketball. Like we're trying to win these games, of course, but they know they're not going to like they're not in any
It's like Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Go beat Gigi Jackson.
Yeah, and he's still emotional. It's very funny. He was crying on TNT, crying after TNT. Very emotional fella. But finally getting some recognition. He was the number one.
Stop with the crying on TV.
He does need to stop with the crying on TV. He's 19. He's 19 years old.
I know.
And
he's 3 years younger than me.
I know. It's nuts. It's nuts. But it does look like Memphis is able to get I'm not going to call him a star or anything, but it's a promising prospect that was the number 1 kid out of high school. So I just think in future drafts, like if there's a number 1 kid out of high school, maybe take him at the end of the first. Yeah. Right? Like, why not? What are you going to take this Serbian kid that played
Yeah.
really well a couple times.
And I mean Jokic. That's
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have picked Serbia.
Latvia.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great story for him, and I hope he keeps killing it. Apparently,
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems like I've seen it multiple times. It seems like it's true. Apparently, he told Steph Curry either during or after the game, because this breakout, like this second breakout game, I guess, was against the Warriors live on TNT, and he told him, he's like, you kicked me out of you kicked me out of a training camp once. Like basically, like, get wrecked. Like I just said, kids whooped your team. Like, get wrecked.
Well, he's probably being a dickhead at training camp. He's probably pouting.
Probably was pouting. I remember when he was to be a recruit for South Carolina, he was always in the CP AAU teams. So maybe he got to see his boy Chris Paul after the game. He's injured though, so I don't know.
Yeah. He is injured.
All right.
Oh, good for Gigi.
Yeah.
Are we not going to talk about the bigger trade that went down?
I almost forgot the league changing trade.
Marvin Bagley and 2 second-round picks and Isaiah Livers
You fleeced.
for Gallinari. They did, honestly. I don't know how they got 2 picks for Gallinari and Muscala. They're on expiring deals.
Yeah, that or a
They
former
gotta
second
pay
round.
for him.
Talk about former draft hype. He was this number 2 pick.
Yeah, Bagley.
Number 2 pick. I mean, this guy,
Yeah.
I don't know. They then, I will say, before we like joke about the Wizards being good, they did just lose to the Pistons right after this trade.
On MLK Day.
Without Cade Cunningham playing or Bogdan Bogdanovic, which are their best 2 players. They're an embarrassment of a franchise.
Yeah, I read an article about how bad the NBA is, like how bad the bad teams are this year. The Wizards, the Pistons, the Spurs, Hornets, the Blazers.
The Big 5.
And it's like unbelievably bad.
They're all so terrible.
The year where the Sixers like peak trust the process when they were tanking, they were losing by less than these teams. And then they were like, the Pistons thought that they were taking a step forward this year. They've won 4 games.
I know, just like switch up the
It's a great article.
Switch up like the locker
Definitely.
room and stuff. Like, why are you even doing this trade? You're just giving up Marvin Bagley. And
It was some reason for this. I didn't read. I started to read it and I was like, I really don't care.
That's the other thing. It's like, it really doesn't matter. It's really not that important.
No, it could not matter less.
I loved
I don't think the Wizards will be competitive for 5 years.
I love
That's the type of rebuild that we signed up.
The thank you,
which is okay.
The thank you Gallinari and Mike Muscula post on Instagram.
I'm glad Muscala's gone. I hated seeing his bum ass in the game.
He was bad on the Celtics
He was
too.
trashed.
He was bad on the Celtics last year as well. Wizards. Pistons make a sidestep trade with the Wizards. Add Gallinari and sidestep.
I think it was a fleece. The fact that they got draft picks out of those guys is shocking.
Oh, sidestep is that's a compliment compared to what it actually is.
Yes.
I think it's a fleece too, even though
there's 2 more shots that you have to get Jokic.
Yeah, those are. And well,
I
no,
already have one. Just Tristan Vucevic. And overseas right now.
It's been balling.
Coming over soon. No. I don't know like what the standards are for balling over there. Like I don't know how much he's expected to score. He did have a big game the other night.
You know, through all their woes, the Washington Wizards have yet to change up their starting lineup at all.
Oh, I know. It's so ridiculous.
Not a single switch.
It's like I think Wes Unseld is just like, like whatever.
He knows he's getting fired anyways.
I'm not gonna have this job.
Talk about what do they
I might get another year just because we don't care.
Talk about what do they do in practice? Like what the hell do they do? Do they just watch Jordan Poole dribble all practice? Kuzma takes TikToks in the corner. Like, what do they practice?
They all deserve each other. Like they're all so perfect.
They're one big happy
Like, no one's gonna
family.
get mad at Jordan Poole for dribbling. No one's gonna get mad at Kuzma for taking like ridiculous fadeaways from the elbow when there's like 3 guys open. The only guy I feel bad for is Bilal.
Yeah, Bilal's getting. I mean, and the fact that you feel bad for me is like 8 points a game, and he's the best player. He's like the star.
Oh, he's having a great year. When I watch games, I just watch it. Like when he goes out, I just flip the channel. Like I really don't care. None of these guys are here in 3
Well, what are you
years.
gonna watch? Denny minutes? Like what the? Like what the hell?
Oh, the Wizards Twitter loves Denny, and I don't get it. He's had like a marginally better year this year.
Is he still averaging
Like,
11,
that's
7,
great.
and 2?
I'm happy for him. He's averaging 12, 6, and 4.
Oh, he's switching it up a little bit.
It's like-
Switching it
that's
up.
what I'm saying. It's like you would think that he had like a Siakam like ascension to an all-star, but no. He's averaging 3 more points and 1 more assist.
They might have the worst body language of the whole NBA too. They like just don't care. They don't care about anything. And like when I was at the game, it's like the fans don't care.
Kuzma and Poole are the worst possible people. I don't know. That was another article that I read about the game against the Pistons, and it was like there were 15,000 people at this basketball game. We went around and asked, "Why are you here?" And at the end of it, he was just like, "There weren't like any boos or anything. Not really any cheering either. Like, we're just there to see basketball."
Our guy
players."
Big Bake was there.
Well, fair enough. Be the same way.
Oh yeah, he didn't
I would
care.
cheer at the end of the game, I guess. But I'm not gonna like boo for a bad call. This team. How could you possibly care? There will be a point where I care. I'm openly a front runner.
But like there's not there is one thing to care and think, there's going to be a plan, like, if you're the I guess why do you care if you're the Pistons? Why do you care if you're the Pistons? I don't know. With basketball it's different because you watch these guys play and it's so personable in basketball because there's no pads or anything, and like you see all their facial reactions and every reaction is on the court, so you see everything. And when you have a bad basketball team, when you have a bad basketball team that no one cares about, like you just see it on their faces. It's like I understand it. Like I get why people don't. I like.
Well, that's why Bilal is so fun to watch because he's the only one that like has energy.
Yeah, he still has
He's
like
oh, I actually might be playing for something.
the useful. What is that?
Hope?
Yeah, hope. That's what it is. Youthful hope. That maybe something will come of this
Youthful
team.
exuberance.
All right. Rest, like the top of the East and everything, we'll cover when we'll cover all the All-Star stuff and everything that happens with the trade deadline. But there's still football to be had, so there's no point in talking deep in the NBA like this. I will say the Spurs keep getting thrown in my face to watch, and they're also terrible. They're so bad.
They're so bad.
At least they have Wemby to watch. Yeah,
That's
at
another
least you
team
have
where
Wemby
it's
to
like
watch.
you literally just key on him the whole game.
Oh yeah, you don't
just
watch
like
anyone else.
how many times Sochan drives to the basket and can't find it. Which would drive me insane. It's this Spurs.
Right before we move on, I had just had it pulled up. Gigi Jackson was born in 2004.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah,
All right,
talk about tough pills to swallow.
Yeah. All right.
It's tough.
Speaking of Gamecock basketball, they faced Georgia last night. I previewed it. I guess I mentioned it at the top of the pod. It was a 9:00 game. I got there at 6:45. I was the second person in line, or at least my group of people were the second people in line. It really didn't get filled until probably, we would have missed out on our spots probably like 7:10, maybe 7:15. So I thought that was worth it. It was cold. It was cold as hell though. Sitting out there, they give us, they walk in. It was, I think people wanted the quarter zip T-shirts or something, but it was a mad dash getting in.
If you give away T-shirts, people will show up.
People will like fight other people to get in the like. It was like
Oh yeah,
people were like
it
jumping
brings
over.
out the worst.
People were jumping over like the metal detectors and just like trying to get in, like get this ticket stand and shit. And anyways, I get my seats. Calm down a second. Got the T-shirt, everything. Georgia players are freaking mean mugging us, talking smack on the side.
The players were mean mugging you.
Yeah, like just get like I don't know. There's this guy Blue Cane. Look him up. Blue Cane CAIN.
Lou Kane.
Blue, like the color.
It's a shitty name.
And then RJ Melendez. Yeah, Blue Cane he looks like Goldilocks. He hit 2 dagger threes.
Wait, Melendez. He went to Illinois.
I hate
Wait, what's his name?
RJ.
RJ.
Yeah, he went to Illinois. Look him up. It's the second picture.
Yes.
That dude's a turd.
Yeah, I remember him. I probably called him ugly too.
Oh, and in the warm up, number 1, 2 was this shit. Jabir Abdul Rahim. He sucked. All these guys were classless individuals. And they all sucked in pregame. They come in, they have 54 on the team. His name's Russell Tachua. He looks like he should play tight end for Georgia. He should not be playing center. And he played like he should be playing tight end too. He was like more like playing like he was running back.
It's like no ball skills.
They traveled more than any team I've ever seen. And they called it 50% of the time. The refs were terrible. The Gamecocks also couldn't hit free throws. We win this game. They missed 47% free throws. So if they missed,
Yeah, that's tough.
like we had the same amount of free throws taken, both teams. We beat them in 3-pointers. We had the same amount of field goals, but we made 17 of them. They made 25, and that was literally the game. That was it. But what sucked is the last 4 minutes of the game. Georgia, and it was kind of the whole game. Georgia realized that these refs were terrible and I can't even describe it. Like there was a ball that hit off a guy's face, went out of bounds, and they called it Georgia ball. There was a ball that I'm not gonna get through all of them, but it was egregious. It was terrible. These old men, we would give them all sorts of hell. It was just a bad loss. It's hard to beat the refs and Georgia. That's what it seemed like, and it seemed like it kept deflating the atmosphere of the game. You know, the atmosphere everyone gets wild up, and then there's another 5-minute review. There's another 3-minute review. There's another 5 field goal or 5 free throws in a row. Like there was, it seemed like towards the end of the game, like the last 4 minutes, there was nothing but free throws over and over and over again. So it was pain in the ass.
This game sucked.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. It was very annoying. What sucked too is it started at 9, so all these fouls and free throws. It was 11:30 by the end of the game.
That was late.
So, but I thought the team fought through some adversity. That they played well. I'm not giving up on this team. I think the SEC's tough, and they got
you're in too deep for that.
No, yeah, and they got a road win against Missouri, so they got their lick back. Georgia got them at home, so it's time to take it to Arkansas on Saturday.
Was this a game that you're supposed to win, like by a lot?
We were supposed to win by 7.
Or...
I thought that line was too high, which clearly I was correct about.
Yeah, that's not too egregious.
No, it wasn't too bad. And then next Tuesday, we'll have to have another Wednesday pod. Kentucky's coming to town, number 8.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That's going to be
Oh boy.
That's going to be nuts. That is going to be nuts. But that's just the SEC gauntlet, man. None of these games are easy. There's literally not one. Vanderbilt's the easiest game. They're always scrappy.
Vanderbilt.
What bothers me,
They don't cheat though.
they don't cheat. No, they don't cheat. That's why they're so scrappy. They don't cheat. The thing that pisses me off about this Gamecock schedule, Tennessee comes to town right in the middle of our spring break. Literally the middle day. And that's the last
That's
home
annoying.
game.
That was like Purdue for us.
It's the last home game too.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's tragic. But that's something we'll cross the bridge when we get there. How's Maryland doing? Are they back? Are they still back?
You've seen the tweets. So tonight we have Northwestern in an hour and a half, which again 9 o'clock. Like I'm not even going to the game, and 9 o'clock sucks because I have to get up for work tomorrow. And I'm all in for this game. Like this is the gateway game. I don't know what a gateway game is. It's like they win this game all the way back in. We have Michigan State on Sunday at home. Like it's gonna be electric. It's gonna be the first game. Hopefully with students back. I don't know because classes don't start till Wednesday. So hopefully enough people are down here for the weekend to make that place rock. But Michigan State was supposed to be good, so there was probably gonna be a good crowd regardless. Gotta beat Northwestern tonight. They're underdogs. I don't even expect them to win, but man, if they can win tonight, they'll be 4-3 in conference play. Coming up on a home game, they have a chance to get back into the tournament conversation. And that's where we're at with this season. Is it's like
But just getting it. We just need to be talked
not winning
about.
anything.
We just need to be talked about.
Right? Yeah, right. If we can be on the bubble,
Yeah.
that would be a win
Yeah.
at this point. And it would show, like, it would give me more faith in Willard that even with
Maybe he is the
constructed
chiropractor.
roster- He is the chiropractor. He is. Yeah. At Michigan, they were down 12 at halftime at home. They're already at this point. They're 1-2 in conference play. 9 at home against Michigan, who's like probably the 12th worst team in the conference. They just lost to Minnesota, who's always dog shit. It's like this is people on the message boards were like, we have 7 more years of this Kevin Willard guy. Like we're screwed. We can't buy him out. We don't have the money to do it. Like we're literally screwed. And then I don't know what happens. They come back. Dante Scott shoots the lights out from 3. They come all the way back. They win by 7. Juju Reese is like him again.
I'm looking at the Illinois box score.
Yeah, they go on the road at number 10 Illinois. Got their best player suspended. But still number 10 Illinois. They beat Northwestern by 30. This is a good basketball team. They barely lost to Purdue. Wait, did they play Purdue? So, and Maryland comes in and they do what I've been begging for all season, which is just take the freaking ball to the rack.
Big boy basketball.
And they get it inside to Juju, and they just play tough. Like Deshaun Harris-Smith knows that he's been bad at shooting, but man, that dude can crash the glass like I've never seen a guard do. And that might be hyperbole, but he's literally like he's a dog. Like when you think of a dog in basketball, like you don't think of like a corner 3 specialist. Like you think of a guy that goes to the rim, blocks shots,
like smart.
gets rebounds, like just hustles. And that's what they have to do to win games. And if they can bring energy like that every night, then they could make the tournament. And like at least it's a culture thing. Like this is who we are. We're not a modern day basketball team. We're not Steph Curry and the Warriors. We're not going to shoot threes to win games. Like we're going to bully you inside as best we can. We're going to crash hard. Like we're going to press you. We're just going to make your life hell for 40 minutes. And you know, there's going to be plenty of games where we don't have enough talent to win, but there's going to be other games where we pull it out because the other team is soft. And that's what Illinois is every year. They're soft.
That was beautifully done.
Thanks.
That was beautifully done.
They do own Illinois. That's the other thing.
I wanted to bring up a point
that it's actually pretty crazy
that you mentioned, which was crashing the boards, playing big boy basketball. That is something that Carolina was missing a lot the past. It seems like since the SEC games have started, where they haven't had a consistent big man to rely on, and the whole offense changes when you have a consistent big man to rely on. Like when Juju Reese can get you 20 and 11, just the fact that he's a threat
Mhm.
in the inside, opens up all of your mid-range and three-point shooting. It opens up all the playmaking. And South Carolina does not like they have BJ Mack who has played center. They have Colin Murray Biles Murray Boyles, I think that's his last name. Who has played center for them, but they're just big forwards. And they don't have Josh Gray has had a tough season. There hasn't been a lot of Verdonk minutes. I like the minutes that I get for Verdonk, but for some reason he doesn't get a lot of minutes. And then Stephen Clark, who I was talking about multiple times on this pod, he is now out of the starting lineup and just like not playing. So
Mhm.
he's either starting or he's not playing, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. We need to find some consistency in the big men. And I should have mentioned that before, but you mentioned it. You mentioned some big men in
It
craft.
does. It matters so much in the college game.
Mhm.
It's just like having a guy down low.
There's a
Literally
reason.
just a guy, like an able-bodied man.
There's a reason why all these, what are they called? The Naismith Award players, like the best players in college football.
Yeah.
There's a reason why
Yeah,
they're
all
all,
these big men.
and they're always terrible in the NBA. They're always in the G League, and they're always like,
Luka Garza.
look at the guy who won
ED.
the national championship, the big center from UConn.
Yeah,
Doesn't even
Sanogo.
get drafted. And he's
Yeah,
like,
you could argue that he was the best player on that team.
yeah, and he doesn't even get drafted. So, of course, it takes a lot, but you need a big man in there. You need some big bodies.
Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yeah, Oscar Tshiebwe, G League too.
That's another
Didn't
one.
get drafted.
Yep.
It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's all in like the last 4 years.
And it's the difference is,
Well,
I think the difference is just that it's not an even playing field, you know? The NBA is an even playing field. All these adults have the same but if you have one big guy in college that's 7'2", you're just gonna dominate everyone that comes in their
Mhm.
way.
Until you go up against somebody smart that knows how to game plan for it.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Like,
And that's
Julian Reese can't pass it.
who?
When he gets double teamed, like Julian Reese, like
Yeah.
Illinois just didn't double him. If he could pass and they could shoot threes, which are two things that aren't true, they would be unstoppable. Do either of them.
I don't know much about D1 baseball, but are you guys ranked?
I don't think so. We lost our coach to Alabama.
No. Well, Alabama's 19. South Carolina's 25. I don't know much about college. They ended the last year 13, so I feel like that's a big drop. But I don't know. Let's see. Zach,
No, I know MLB.
no, that's fine. That does that cover everything? We hit on everything?
I think so. We're
Wait.
good.
So, Michigan. Yeah, you already mentioned Michigan State. Then Nebraska. 2 must wins at home.
What?
Iowa. I'm looking at your Maryland team.
Are you looking at Maryland's schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go at Northwestern, Michigan State, Iowa, at Iowa, which is a loss. They'll never win in Iowa. And then Nebraska at home and at Michigan State.
What's gonna happen next year when you have a 9 p.m. game in UCLA? These Maryland guys are gonna get dogged. Get blown up by Oregon because the game's at 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. I think they'll just do like one West Coast trip, so like you'll go out and you'll play UCLA, USC, Oregon. You might not even play one of them.
Yeah, that would make
Just
the
there
most
for a
sense.
week. It'll be fun for the kids.
Yeah, I guess
California.
So. Yeah,
I've probably never been. I've never been to California. I might go out there.
Funny.
Who knows? Maybe I'll join them. Take a week off.
Funny. I guess moment that happened at the Gamecock game. You know, we're getting like everyone's lining up. I'm right there, and there's Taylor Cooper, T. Coop, which our library, if it's anyone who's ever been a student here, is called Thomas Cooper Library. T. Coop. Everyone calls it T. Coop. So I'm looking at him, I'm cheering. I'm like, T. Coop, the library. the library. And Michi and him like basically look at me and start laughing at each other. And I hear Michi go like, "What the hell is the library?" I was like, "I forgot that these clowns will have never stepped foot in the library and probably never will." And Riley, my former roommate, now future roommate, Riley was with me, and he's like, "Oh, he's only been here for like half a year. He just transferred." I was like, "Dude, if you're a student at the university, like it should be on the tour guide, is it not? In the package, like this is
Yeah,
Thomas
I
Cooper
knew McDonald
Library."
Library before I
Yeah, exactly.
like came to school.
Yeah, honestly, I think I probably knew what T Cube
That's
was
so
the
funny.
first day, first hour of being there. It's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah, I'm
that's
sure
T
you
Cube.
did. Yeah.
But they
They're
looked at
probably
me.
like, oh, like this library has all this cool stuff
They were like,
that you will use as a student. Their tour is a lot different.
yeah, that's true. They're probably like they're like I thought about it afterwards. I was like, I wonder if like every shot he was like, because he didn't have a good game. And if every shot he's like, why did that kid call me the library?
He's just so confused.
He's just like, why did he call me the library? I don't get it. Oh, all right. Well, that's all I got.
I will say that Jamie Kaiser on our team, my sister had a class with him, like a 9 a.m. class, and he went every day.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was here like, he shouldn't be going, like, he should be working on his jump shot. Why is he going to class?
You were the bad influence. You were the bad influence. You were like, why? Like kids are like
stress management. I was like, okay, stress management. Yeah, like he's a freshman playing in the Big Ten. He needs stress management.
shouldn't.
But if it was some shit, I don't know, biology or stupid class like that, he doesn't need that.
Most people, it's like, shouldn't
Be
you
in the
guys?
gym.
You guys should be inside studying. It's late. Chris is like, why aren't you guys playing basketball?
Oh, no.
It's 8 a.m.
Like, just shoot free throws.
So yeah, that's that free throw 101.
It doesn't take any energy. Yeah, that's right.
Can I teach that course? Free throw 101.
Juju needs to take that course.
I
He's
need
a lot better.
I need to
throws,
take
I will say.
I need to take that course.
I have a good routine. I just don't make them. But if I practiced it for an hour every day instead of going to class,
Damn well I was gonna say, damn well I'd be electric.
It's
All right, we got a good hour 32 here. Thank you all for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed. We'll see everyone on Friday, 5 p.m. Of course, check our socials in case that changes, but should be good to go. And then enjoy your weeks. See everyone on Friday.